There's a question I've been sitting with lately. How can I lead well without always being on? Because for a long time, I thought those two things were the same. If I was leading well, I should be visible, responsive, always available, replying quickly and showing up consistently, staying engaged. And to be fair, that worked, at least for a season. It helped me build trust. It helped me build my online business selling the couch. But over time, I started to notice something underneath it, a quiet kind of fatigue. Not burnt out in the dramatic sense, but a steady drain from always needing to be reachable, always needing to be present. And I realized that I had built a version of leadership that depended on my constant energy, which meant that if I was tired, things slowed down. If I stepped away, things paused. That's not leadership, that's dependency. So I started asking a different question. What would it look like to lead in a way that still works, even when I'm not there? And that shifted a few things. First, I started to think about content differently, not as something that I had to produce constantly, but as something that could carry ideas on my behalf. A podcast episode, a video like this, a thoughtfully written piece. If done well, they continue the conversation without me needing to show up again. That's a different kind of presence, a quieter one. Second, I'm starting to simplify how I communicate. Instead of repeating myself across calls and messages, I try to articulate things clearly once in a document, in a system, in a process, so that people don't need access to me, they have access to the thinking. And third, this one, to be honest, has taken the longest. I started letting go of the idea that I need to be involved in everything. This is really hard, especially if you're a founder, you have built your company, especially if you care, especially if you are the one that has built everything from the ground up. But I've come to see that being involved in everything is often a sign that nothing is truly built yet. Leadership, at least the kind that I'm learning now, looks quieter. It looks like fewer words, but clearer ones. Fewer meetings, but better decisions. Fewer interruptions, but stronger systems. It's less about being constantly available and more about being intentionally present. And I think this matters even more if you're a fellow introvert, because being on all the time comes at a cost. It fragments your attention. It pulls you away from deep thinking and deep work. It makes leadership feel performative instead of grounded. But here's what I'm slowly learning. You don't need to be loud to lead. You don't need to be everywhere to guide. You need to be clear. You need to be thoughtful. And you need to build something that outlasts your presence. For me, this has meant creating much more evergreen content, documenting decisions instead of repeating them, trusting people more, even if that feels uncomfortable, and protecting long stretches of quiet time where I can think and just work. Not because I want to do less, but because I want to carry what I do further. A friend said it best, less but better. So if you've been feeling this tension, like you're always having to be on but not always effective, maybe the question isn't how do I show up more? Maybe it's what can I build so I don't have to? And more quietly, what does leadership look like if it doesn't depend on my constant presence? If you're thinking about building a business that's quieter, a career that's more sustainable and doesn't require you to be always on all the time, please consider subscribing to the Quiet Builder channel. And if you want deeper reflections like this twice a month, I write a letter called the Quiet Builder Letters, and you can check that out over at sellingthecouch.com/quiet builder.